Libras, welcome back. Let's dive in and see what messages Spirit has for you. And to be exact, divine messages Spirit has for you. All right. Your overall energy right now is surrounded around, um, I'm hearing perfecting, working hard to perfect. Maybe a talent, a skill, a craft. Um, Something that that you're taking your time to make sure that it's perfect in all aspects, right? I feel like you're I feel like some of my Libras may be feeling like they're partially there, not really feeling that they've reached the peak, or that they are they're not feeling that they're quite where they want to be yet with, perfecting this craft, skill, talent, whatever this is that it's something that you're working hard to, make into perfection. You want to make sure it's done right. I'm getting my Libras, you're working hard to make sure that, it is right, in every aspect. Not only does it look good, but, inside it is A1 as well. I'm hearing to the T. And although you don't feel like, you're quite there yet, I feel like Spirit is very, God is very pleased with the work you've done so far. Very pleased, very, very happy, very, you know, there's something here strongly about maybe this is, you could be rebuilding yourself, something to do with self. Yeah. So you are at the beginning of, rebuilding. I feel like this is rebuilding self. I feel like a lot of my Libras are at the beginning stages of rebuilding self, but Spirit, God is very pleased with the work that you've done so far. You know, it may seem like, it's not a lot, or that, you've just stepped off the porch. But even with the little that you feel like you've done, it's something to look at. It's something to be in awe about. It's something to pay attention to. Yeah. It's something to pay attention to. It's something to pay attention to, especially for you, Libra. It's something about, even though it may seem like it's very early on, but it's something about the details of, the work you're putting in thus far. And I feel like God is wanting you to continue to pay attention, to continue to be obedient, to listen, to follow your intuition. Okay? Because, these are going to be some very important changes, that's going to take place with your rebirth of self. I feel like it's going to be a situation, this is one of those things where, you need to stay alert. You need to stay, you need to focus and pay attention. You need to be, divinely guided, because this is, when it comes to, with all things, especially spiritual, there can be, attacks or people that try to intervene, or energies that try to throw you off. And spirit is just saying, you know, spirit is God is wanting you to pay attention, to focus, and to be guided, because there's going to be um a need for you to be strong and protect yourself, because you're getting ready to go into, I'm hearing a battlefield. Like there's a lot of things that are going to take place with this rebirth for you, right? And so, there's tests, there's challenges, there's obstacles. Okay, there's whatever comes up ahead. God is just wanting you to make sure that you are, remaining strong mentally and physically, and just making sure that, you protect your path, protect your journey, okay? Protect yourself, because this is very detrimental. This is very, very important for my Libras right now, in order to grow, expand. This rebirth is going to develop you. Okay. Yeah, there's something strongly here about staying aligned. Okay. You need to remain aligned, always, something about remaining aligned, being grounded, um, because at this particular point, it's not so much of you. I feel like when God is telling you to protect yourself, I feel like it's more so of, coming to Him, because I feel like a lot of things that are going to take place, you're going to find solace in coming to Spirit and coming to God. Okay. Meditating, being grounded, centering yourself. Okay. That's where the form of protection is going to come from. Okay. And so, just leaving that pathway open, the door of communication open to God, to the universe, to be able to, go in when need be, to connect when need be, to ground when need be, to get into a place of centerment, all right? To remain calm. There's going to be, during this, I'm hearing transformation, but during this rebirth, which is like a transformation, um, you're going to need a different type of peace. You're going to need a different type of calm, okay? Because, you're going to be facing a lot of things on this journey, and you need to be able to shake back or restore yourself from certain events, certain experiences, okay? There's something very strong out here about, having that connection to universe and God, and having the ability to be calm. And I'm here, I just heard centered, to be centered and to be at peace. Okay. This is gonna, God is letting you know that this is, this right now, what you're going through it's gonna require work. Okay. It's not promised that it's gonna be easy. This is gonna require work. Okay. Because there's something about everything needs to be stripped. Everything needs to be stripped, strip the land. I'm just visualizing, just the land being stripped, even, the grass, it's something about, the foundation, resoiling, or, like how you re-sodomize. What is re-sodomize? Let me look into that for you. A quick, sorry, Libra. Resod, resod. Let me see. Resod. Reside. Is that not a word? Not reside. Resod. Right. Okay. So, you know, reside is like, let me see. I want to see, I'm it's something. So I'm gonna just let you know, like reside is like an action word, right? So it's about, removing old turf and replacing it with, you know, new. So, like, new patches, when you resodomize, I'm thinking about like land, how you reside, you strip it up of the old and you replace it with new soil and you place it with new patches of grass. Well, yeah, that's what so that's basically, you know, where we're getting at. It's something about, you being able to, I'm sorry, with this rebirth, okay? It's like you're starting fresh, right? You're starting fresh. You're building a new foundation for yourself, okay? And the resod or the rebirth starts within, okay? Whatever is within you that's old, that no longer serves you, that's being purged away, right? And then it's going to be replaced and restored with new. So you're going to experience things like you're being taken out of belief, old belief patterns, habits, energies that don't serve you, things that are dead or things that deplete you. Okay. And it's going to be replaced with things that are fertile. Okay. It's going to you're going to be reconnected with, values. Spirit is God is going to reconnect you with certain values. There's going to be new practices that are implemented. Okay. There's going to be real truths, you know, that are going to help you feel more in tune spiritually, physically, and mentally. Okay. It's going to make you feel more alive. Okay. It's preparing your spirit is you're getting ready to go through a transformation that is preparing your spirit, you know, for a new, okay, new insights, new perspectives, a new peace, okay, new purpose, okay, and that is what God is, you know, residing in you to grow and to expand. I'm hearing I'm replanting my inner garden so my spirit can flourish again. Okay? You're being rebirthed so you can flourish the way that you're supposed to. And it's going to be work. Okay? When you think about someone working in a garden, when you think about someone doing landscaping, they sweat, they get tired. There's probably times, there's times where, they take breaks. There's times where, it might seem too tough or that is weighing in on them, but it's something strongly here about having peace in those times, trusting, okay, and persevering. Yeah. You're going through a transformation that's taking you from, you know, the old to new. Okay. This is something that is divinely meant for you. This is, you know, you're getting a chance for a new opportunity. You're getting a chance for an authentic start. It's no more bullshit. No more, we're not We're not settling with bullshit. We're not settling for people that wear masks. We're not settling for, any form of manipulations. Like, this is like we're opening a pathway for some real shit to come through. Like, for authenticity. All right, for stability, for expansion, for growth, for increase, for success, for advancements, to level up. Okay. And by keeping this peace, okay, that God wants us to have, by keeping this peace, by keeping our connection with the universe, right, we're going to have everything we need to get through this transformation, to get through this rebirth. Okay. And I'm looking at you, Libra. You're going to come out, you go from, the Knight of Pentacles to the Knight of Cups. Okay. When I look at the Knight of Pentacles, that's someone who's working hard. They're in the middle of something. Okay. When I look at the Knight of Cups, they've come out of that. Okay. They're clean. They're, they look good. They look mature. They look, there's something about, they look like I'm just going to keep it real with you. They look like they got their shit together. Okay. It looks like they have their shit together. And that's where, that's where God, that's where spirit, that's where universe is taking you. You're going to another level. Okay. You're being taken from one place with this transformation, this rebirth is going to take you from one place and put you in another. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There's, it's going to seem hard. It might be intimidating at times, but it's something about, staying determined. Okay. Keep pushing, keep going, because, the more you remain determined, the more consistent you are with your determination, the more consistency you have with, persevering and pushing forward, the more seeds you're going to plant, the more, that bared land, or that, that resod, that land that needs to be resod is going to, it's going to develop. Okay. It's going to go from, being stripped to, getting out all of that soil that prevented growth, that prevented expansion, from that prevented, fruitation of labor. All of that bad soil, I'm not going to call it bad, but all of that soil that did not have any purpose is being uprooted, is being taken out. And it's, and the more work and the more work and the more perseverance, more determination, the more, the more you put in, the more, the more fertile soil you lay down. Because it's like, it's one of those things, it's day by day, brick by brick, piece by piece, right? So the more we do, the more we get. So we lay it down, we're laying down, we work hard and we strip it up. We're working, we're going through, awakenings, where you're going to be going through awakenings, you're going to be going through transitionings, you're going to be going through stages of enlightenment. Okay. That's all in the process of stripping it up, resoiling, then then placing the seeds, then placing the grass, and watering it, and it's all a process, right? It's all a process. And it's all a process to create balance. And that's where you're being divinely guided at this particular time. All right. And for my Libras, there's going to be times where, you're going to have to do some really, challenging work. Okay. It's going to trigger you. But that's the purpose of it. The purpose is to trigger so that you can heal, right? So that you can heal. So sometimes I'm hearing it's going to feel like you're in a shit show. You're going to be, chest high in your emotions, right? You're going to be deep in your emotions in order to purge yourself away from all things that don't serve you. To purge, healing, to purge out things with no substance, right? There's going to be days where you're not going to want to do the work. Like Spirit is laying it out here for us, letting us know exactly, what we can, what, exactly, what the path is going to be up ahead. There's going to be time where we just don't want to be bothered with. It's times where we're going to be, we're going to be this close, and, we're to feeling like, you know what, bump it. I give up. I can't do it. It's too much. But Spirit is saying you can't give up. You can't give up. You can't go back to what what you used to do, or what you're used to settling for. It's something strongly here about moving forward. And I feel like for my Libras, if decide that you're going to give up or let go, I feel like it's going to be worse than how it was. I just feel like it's going to be worse. There's something strongly here about, going back and the energy manipulating you and tricking you. And, there's something strongly here about that. I feel like, the past, or, people, places, and things that God is trying to separate you from is going to be trying to call you back. Okay. And I'm not going to lie. It's going to look good as hell. Because it's going to seem easy. It's going to, that path, it comes off much easier than the path that's ahead. Right. And a lot of times we want what's easier instead of, what challenges us to be better. And I feel like, it's going to be a trap. Going back is simply going to be a trap and throw you completely off of your path, completely off of your journey. It's going to have you spiraling, into lack, into stagnation, okay? Spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, okay? It's going to become a very cold and, I heard, desolated. Yeah. Desolated means empty, barren, or destroyed. Yeah. You're going to be, desolate, your progress, desolate your path, desolate your journey. Spirit is encouraging you to, instead of going for what's easy and what looks good, put in the work now. Put in the work. Tend to your garden. Tend to yourself. Okay? Instead of looking at those challenges like, it's the end of the world, it's something here about playing, life is like a chess. I can't get but something like life is like a game of chess. You got to be strategic. You got to know how to move. Okay. But this, this rebirth is going to take you, like I said, to another. It's taking you into this rebirth. Okay, this transfer, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue tied, you guys, because I'm looking at the cards and I'm getting downloads as I look. But it's taking you to a place of abundance, of the ability to create. Okay, it's taking you from one energy, okay, into the energy, the Empress energy, right? So the choices that you make are going to be very important to aligning you with your authentic path, your new beginning, your fresh start. Okay. Not only your choices, but also your intuition. Strongly on the table, change. Okay. This change is going to make you feel, trapped. It's going to make you feel stuck. It's going to play on your emotions. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and say that, It's going to be good. You know, your path is protected. You're not going through anything. Your path is protected. It is protected. But, this is what's required, to rise up. This is what's being required of you in order to rise up. It's a lot of self work that needs to be done, and to show and to prove that this is something that you're really wanting. Okay? This fight, this work is you stepping up and showing God, I deserve this. I want it. You said it's for me. I'm here to show you that I want it. Okay, we get this again, on the table. Four swords, and five of swords, right? Being able to find solace, being able to find peace. Being able to find solace in battles, in the struggles, and warfares, whether it's physical or spiritual. I'm hearing it's gonna be a bumpy road. It is. But if you can endure and make it through, you're gonna close out a much needed cycle that needed to be ended. And it's gonna bring in fulfillment. It's gonna bring in opportunity, security, stable. And this is, it's taking you from a Page of Cups to a King of Pentacles. You're going to look back and you're going to be able to see how far you've grown. How much at peace, much more at peace you are. How much more balanced you are. God is wanting you to fight for yourself to get the victory. All right, Libra? So let's, man, this is intense. It's very intense because you're getting ready to go through a transformation. Okay? You're being hit with, you're being given the message that this is what's getting ready to take place. God is saying, if you want this, get ready. Brace yourself, because this is what it takes to receive this. Okay? You're going to have to do some inner work. And I scratched that. I said some. You're going to have to do inner work. Okay? You're going to have to go through this transformation, and it's not going to be easy. Will it be easy? No. Will you come out better? Will you come out stronger? Definitely. Definitely. Take care until next time.